Welcome back to Search with Sean, and this is another video a bit like we just did with the structured data and schema, where we go over certain SEO topics in a little bit more detail, explaining what they are, what they include, what they involve, and that kind of thing. And obviously, just like the schema one, I aim to do a follow-up video showing good examples or things that could be improved on major sites around the topic. So look out for that. And also I put a link to the schema one that you should see popping up as well. So I'm just gonna, again, there will be some reading here, but I'm going to put all the links as usual in the description, so you'll be able to find not only ones I discuss, but also related ones I think you'll find very interesting around the topic as well. So again, we'll just go over what the topic is. So EEAT, and I might refer to it as EAT a lot of the time because, that's what it is. It's an extra E being added. Is an acronym created by Google, which stands for experience, expertise, authoritiveness, and trustworthiness. It is not a ranking factor, but rather a component of Google's search quality evaluator guidelines. And I wanted to mention as well, obviously, again, I'll put a link, you'll see it pop up. But I had a chat with James Brockbank, who's, a brilliant person in the field, knows a lot of stuff. We didn't actually get on to talk about EAT that much in our chat, but it's still really interesting one. And yeah, he's created a very, very good EEAT checklist, which has been downloaded by thousands to use for themselves. So I'll put a link to that in the description, and hopefully you'll find it useful. And on here, I also put a quote from Marie Haynes, who is also really good, has a great newsletter, written loads of different books and stuff like that. So you should follow her, and just her thoughts on it, saying, today I think of EEAT like a template that uses signals available to Google to create an idea of which content has qualities of authenticity a searcher would expect for each particular query. I thought that was worth throwing in. As I say, she's a great person in our industry, so worth listening to. And, I just wanted to add that I think with EAT, it's not just like a list of things to do, although there's obviously checklist out there, but it's also like a mindset, I think, with the way that the internet is going, the way Google and other search engines are going. This sort of method and thinking is going to set you apart from your competition. And I think it's worth really having the mindset rather than just, doing a few things around the topic and then kind of thinking you're done. It's like with most things, SEO, it's never really done, and it can always be improved. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say on that. And, also when you add sort of EAT elements onto the site, don't expect to see sudden, boost or, changes in traffic or rankings or whatever. It's a collection of these implementations that are going to create a stable environment that you can actually see those sort of changes. But like most things in SEO, it's a collection of things that create the bigger results, I guess. Just moving on. So I know it's a few years ago, but I still think it's worth putting here because in November 2022, an SMX event, Google's VP of Search, H.J. Kim, he just said a few things around EAT, so I thought it was worth stating. He said that EEAT is a core part of Google's metrics. It's been around for 10 to 13 years. It is there to ensure that content people consume is not going to be harmful and it's going to be useful. It is a template of how we rate sites based on expertise, authoritative, and trustworthiness. As we said earlier, we do it to every single query in every single result. So it's quite vast. And it is more important for YMYL queries. So this is, as I put on the presentation, Your Money, Your Life. We'll go into those, but there's some example that, like looking for information on mortgages or local emergency rooms, and obviously me working at Macmillan's the same. So anything like health related comes under this category. So yeah, like I say, we'll go into that as we go through the presentation. So we go through each of the different letters, and as I say, all the resources that I've used to find this information will be in the description. So please do use that as a resource center as well. So when it comes to experience, it says basically Google instructs its quality rater staff to identify whether content is based on first-hand experience with the subject being covered. For example, has a reviewer personally put in a transaction with the business they're writing about? Has a retailer or influencer personally used the products they're recommending? Has a writer personally visited the place they're featuring, and so on? And that's, because there's a lot of, well, I don't know the exact number, but I'm pretty sure there was quite a few cases where people are writing about products that they've never even seen or used. And, these are probably people that others trust and would just believe that they have. So they would go out and buy it. Obviously, it worked for quite a while. I think people are coming around to the idea that maybe that these kind of agreements are being made and they don't trust them as much. Actually, we've shared that on the channel quite recently with some latest survey results around Gen Z consumers. So, and as the results from Moz shows here, that Moz found that only 14% of consumers trust what brands say about themselves as much as they trust user reviews. And I'm sure that obviously makes a lot of sense, because obviously brands are going to say they're great. Yeah, you would expect that. And obviously people they've had paid partnerships with, you would expect them to say they're great. But if people just randomly say they're good, I'm sure you've checked on when you deliver food, buy delivery goods from Just Eat or, Deliveroo, that you check the reviews. You're not just going to go off what the company says. So yeah, it makes total sense on that point of it. And next we go on to how to optimize for each of these different areas. And obviously there's probably other examples. I've just picked out a couple from the research. And again, I'll put links to all different resources that you can have a look. So focus on creating in-depth, well-researched content that demonstrates your understanding of the subject matter. Use relevant keywords naturally throughout your content, but prioritize clarity and value over keyword density. Cite credible sources and data to support your claims and provide evidence of your expertise. Highlight the authors, credentials, qualifications, experience in the field. Feature author profiles with clear bios and relevant links to their work or online presence. Consider including guest contributions from recognized experts in your niche, and showcase the sentiment of your customers and clients on your website. Can be a smart way to incorporate these experience factors into your publication, provided that you're validating that reviews stem from real consumers of your business. So it's all about transparency. I guess, I think with the growth of AI content and so on, Google just wants transparency, and to be, obviously they've got other aspirations around authors and the way they're going to be building out how they filter things and how people can be found and so on, and knowledge panels and so on, and knowledge graphs and so on. But they, aside from all that, they just want people to be transparent, and part of that user journey to understand who's written the content, how can they trust it, why should they trust it, what is this person, why is this person or company writing about this particular topic, or what are their expertise on it. I think during that conversation with James Brockbank, he was saying around a certain company who was known for one thing and started writing about another because it had huge search volumes and they were trying to gain traffic that way. And obviously this kind of thing would eliminate that. So it's a very important part of it. So on that, and again, these are all, because it's all kind of one thing at EEAT, they do kind of cross over to a large extent, but obviously they all have their own sort of explanations as well. So we'll go on to expertise. So Google's quality raters are instructed to determine the level of expertise that exists behind content, based in part on how much that content might impact a reader's life. If your organization operates in a medical, legal, journalistic, safety, or governmental sectors, commonly known as your money, your life, as we stated earlier, you will need to provide official proofs of your expertise. However, even if your site covers topics of a lesser impact, you should still strive to demonstrate how and why you're an expert in the field. And we're going to say more about your money, your life. In your money or life categories, your website may well need to provide proof of licenses, professional associations, and degrees to prove to Google that the public that you are indeed an expert. So, for example, at Macmillan and other similar companies, we have a thing called a PIF Tick, and that is basically a license accreditation of just showing that our content is trustworthy, it's regularly checked and updated, and it's all medically checked by the right people. So things like that. If you're in a legal sector, have you got the right licenses and qualifications, and again, that goes down to any level. If you're a small business, you own a food outlet, have you got the right health and safety certificates? And if you're a builder, have you got the right qualifications or licenses that you need, health and safety? And in your area, have you got the right licenses to use certain tools or whatever it may be? So I think obviously it's going to be much more important in the medical and legal sectors, but still it goes all the way down for me. If you could prove this, if someone goes on your website and sees these kind of factors and your competition doesn't have them, it could be a deal breaker, So we go on how to optimize for it. So showcase your practical experience and knowledge through case studies, examples, and success stories. And again, these are so important. And in it's not just for SEO, it's for everything, user experience. Even if you have paid campaigns and you go onto a page, the person's more likely to convert, no matter what you're trying to get them to do, if there's relevant case studies and examples and success stories. You're trying to sell them a certain product, and they can actively see real people with real success stories. They're gonna more likely go for your product. And even on our case, that we have case studies around people who've sadly gone through the cancer journey and have received help and that kind of thing. And it does help those going through the same journey understand what it may involve for them and what may come up and that kind of thing. So no matter what industry you work in, or it can really help. So, and also it goes on to say, demonstrate your ability to apply your expertise to real world situations and provide tangible solutions. Share your journey and development within the field, showcasing your ongoing learning and growth. Highlight the website's history and longevity in the field, showcase any awards, recognition, or testimonials received from industry peers, and feature testimonials from satisfied clients or consumers who have benefited from your experience. So again, all of that is just trust, and showcasing your expertise. And again, it's going to be important in your money, your life sectors. But again, it goes down to any industry. We all seen things like Checker Trader and Trustpilot, every single website or business where it can be found on those usually. And you should be, if you've got a really good score in Checker Trade and you're a building company, you should be highlighting those on your website. If you've got, you're selling a product, you should be showing this sort of story of how it's progressing, of future plans, of clients that use it and case studies around that and that kind of thing. And also, if you're a family business, showing the history, obviously a Macmillan is a huge history, and to show that journey, it gives a sense of trust. Even if you're down to a family butcher's, showing how that has come through the family and all that kind of thing. If you have that and your competitor doesn't, that might give you that sort of advantage. So it's definitely worth doing. And these sort of things, don't necessarily mean that you're going to see organic growth and traffic spikes and stuff, but generally you're probably going to help you convert better from those who actually do come on the website. So it's definitely worth doing. And if you're enjoying this video and you want to see more of these kind of things, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me grow the channel. And if you've got any particular topics you would like me to delve into, I do try and look at it from a quite simplistic point of view first, so then we can delve deeper into it. And also, I do plan to do more example-based videos as well, because I think they're quite good to visually look at and dig into deeper from your end. So, do let me know. But if you could subscribe, that'd be really awesome. And I appreciate everyone who has done so far. So going on to the next letter is Authoritiveness. As you can see, Authoritiveness depends largely on others recognizing you as an expert. Much of this is based on the number and quality of third-party websites that link or cite your web pages or brand information. So, similar to just anyone reviewing you, which is great. Good reviews is really important, as we just stated on this video. But also you want really high-level relevant publishers linking and citing you as much as you can get as well. Because again, that's giving search engines the signals saying, yep, these people know what they're talking about. They can be trusted. So if you work in the health sector, people like the NHS linking to you or citing you, or, there's some examples here. For example, like Financial Times is really well known for finance. Obviously, if they link or cite you, that's going to be great. If you work in the sports sector and it's ESPN, who are obviously very well known for their sports coverage, that's going to be great. And it's going to be market leaders and publishers, whether that's well-known magazines or online news publishers in your industry. If they're linking to you, along with obviously the big ones like BBC and so on, if they mention you or they link to you, that's going to be a great signal to say to Google, yep, we trust these. And even, haven't got big publishers either, but as long as they're really relevant, to your industry and to what you're trying to do, it's going to be beneficial. They haven't always got to be, BBC, and because not everyone's going to get those sort of mentions. It's just not going to happen. But if you can, it's all about, again, in my discussion with James Brockbank, which I really recommend you go and watch, we talked about linked relevancy. It's not so much quantity, how many can you get? It's the relevancy. That's why if you can get these sort of really relevant links in your industry, pointing back to your website, or even mentioning you, could be even in videos, you go and do videos around with certain industry leaders or industry publications, or, you give a quote for a certain story. That's going to help, and it's going to show how relevant you are in the sector. Yeah, we're just moving on to how to optimize for it. So focus on acquiring high quality backlinks for authoritative websites in your niche, as we're just discussing. Collaborate with other experts and websites in your field for guest posting opportunities. So, always feel free to reach out if you've got certain industry publications. Say, look, I'm happy to ever get involved in a story or leave a quote for a certain, article they're putting out, or can I do a guest post for your publication? So yeah, those sort of opportunities are really good. Even reach out to other experts in the field and put your own podcast together. I see there's tons of SEO based ones, but if you're in a very niche industry, it could still showcase what you know about the industry, and it's well worth doing, and it doesn't take much time to do it either. So yeah, look out for those opportunities. Build relationships with influencers and industry leaders to obtain mentions and endorsements. Participate in industry conferences, webinars, and online communities. Every industry have these. So, even if you're not that confident in doing those sort of things, there should be something out there where you can get involved, even if it's an online community, or, in the webinars where you can just chip in with your point of view. You should look out for these. Contribute your expertise to relevant publications and media outlets, as we discussed, and engage your audience on social media and build a strong online presence. So yeah, there's all those really good sort of techniques there. And moving on to trustworthiness. And this is obviously the final EAT metric that we'll discuss. And it is Google cited as being the most important of them all. And like I said, they all kind of go into one, really. It's all around, for me, trustworthy, being trusted and transparent. And yeah, that along those lines, I think they all roll into one, really. So trust is the most important member of the EAT family, because untrustworthy pages have low EEAT, no matter how experienced, expert, or authoritative they may seem. That's from Google. The importance of trustworthiness to a page or site depends on the type of content. So Google evaluates trustworthiness based on the content's intended purpose. So for example, if a page provides financial information, it obviously needs to be a lot more trustworthy than just a blog, giving an opinion on the best fish and chip places in London, for example. It all depends the context of the article or page information. So yeah, it's probably a given, but they do take all that into account. So how to optimize for it. And again, like I say, you say how to optimize for it, but these should really, on all of them, these should really be things you should be looking to do anyway, because they're kind of best practice to get your brand out there and trusted and engaged with. So generally, these are the things that you should just be doing. I mean, there's a lot, so I understand there won't be time to do them all. And you may never be able to do all of them all. Or you probably won't, don't matter how big you are. But obviously, this gives you some ideas. So ensure your website is professional, user-friendly, with clear navigation and easy to find information. Maintain a consistent and reliable publishing schedule with regular updates. Implement clear and transparent privacy policies and data security measures. Make it easy for users to contact you and provide feedback. And just on all this, obviously, that checklist from James Brockbank does cover all these different areas. So it's good to go and check all these areas of your website. You might think you've got it covered, but actually when you go back, it's either not as clear as you thought it was, or you don't actually have it at all. So, and that, like we say, everything can always be improved from a SEO standpoint and UX standpoint. So, yeah, prioritize accuracy and factual information, citing sources and data responsibility. Avoid misleading or, misleading claims, focusing on transparency and honest communication. So, if you, again, transparency is clear, such a key word here across the board. I think obviously when it comes to Your Money, Your Life websites, it's vital that you cite your sources and stuff. But, even if, you don't think you come under that category, it's still good practice. Even if you're putting a post on LinkedIn or you're doing a video like this, citing your sources is, with so much information flying around, it's just not good practice to take information from something or someone and try and claim it as your own. And obviously Google are trying to stamp out on that. Respond to user comments and questions promptly and professionally, addressing concerns constructively. Yeah, you should be responding. Again, I know it's time consuming, and you could have tons and tons of comments and reviews out there. But you should try to respond to all of them, whether they're positive or negative. So moving on, I've got a few other things that I came across that I wanted to share on the topic. So just additional tips and things I found, really. So focus on building a strong online reputation. Engage in positive interactions with your audience and address any negative feedback constructively. Again, it just talked about it, but I've seen it so many times where some companies have got negative comments and basically replied in a quite direct and some may seem rude way. And I think it's important to, you are a business, people are seeing you as this entity, and you need to respond in a professional manner, no matter how you may feel personally offended, or that you shouldn't take it to heart. You need to come across as a business and show, respond in a professional manner, no matter what was the comments. And it's difficult to do, I get it, because especially if you're a small business, you can take it personally, but these things get seen. You should utilize Schema markup. Obviously, I did the video on Schema and some, how it's beneficial, and also some examples. But providing structured data for search engines can improve them understanding the content. And also you've got all the other kind of things on top. You've got the author schema, when pages are being updated, base schema, and that kind of thing. So when they were published, again, it's all down to, one, it helps Google understand the content, as I say, but it also is transparent about what's on the page and when it was created, why it was created, who created it, what are their credentials, and so on. Again, it kind of just helps you map out all that information on the page. And it says, stay informed about Google's latest updates. So if they changed the EEAT framework. Obviously, they've already added an extra E on there not that long ago. So, you know, just keep on top of it. As again, James Brockbank said, you know, reading the Google's guidelines just generally, although it's quite in depth, is a great starting point for anyone interested or in SEO. And like you said, you know, if you don't want to take time to read it all, you could just chuck it into a model like ChatGPT or Claude and get it to summarize things for you. But generally, you know, just stay up to date with it as much as you can. Obviously, you can follow all the Google services. They're all on different socials, so they usually update you as they update their guidelines. So again, this was kind of off. I found this from Lily Ray. Again, every video I've mentioned her, but she's well worth a follow. She's great. And it's really about, you know, does Google have an official EAT score? And the answer is no. Like we said before, it's not a ranking factor. There is no scoring of it yet anyway. Obviously, things may change. It might come out in a leak in a few years' time, but yeah, at the moment, there's no official score. So, you know, if anyone asks, and does Bing have their version of EEAT? And yes, it does, and it's referred to as the QC, quality and credibility. And I'll put a link to this so there's more information about it in the description of this video, and also Lily Ray's page all around EAT is amazing. There's videos, there's podcasts, there's everything on there. It's really detailed. So yeah, worth looking into. But it says more about Bing, and it's to determine QC. Bing looks at the author or site's reputation, the level of discourse, transparency, and of authorship, and conversely, the use of name calling or offensive statements, which can demote the site's ranking. So this is the thing when people, you know, talk about SEO, it is so vast. You know, it delves into areas of UX, it goes into digital PR, it goes into pretty much anything online that could be detrimental or beneficial, obviously, can affect what we're doing. So it's well worth having conversations with your UX team and your PR team and regularly catch up with them, see what's going on. So next, just finishing off here is really from the guidelines. Again, I'll put a link to them all, and they talk through all the different levels of EAT actually, but I've just picked out the highest and the lowest, so you've got some idea around this. So it has information regarding criteria for achieving the highest level of EEAT. So very high EEAT is a distinguishing factor for highest quality pages. A website or content creator who is the uniquely authoritative go-to source for a topic has very high EEAT. A content creator with a wealth of experience may be considered to have a very high EEAT for topics where experience is the primary factor in trust. A very high level of expertise can justify a very high EAT assessment. Very high EAT websites and content creators are the most trusted sources on the internet for a particular topic. So, you know, again, I'll do a video on examples of, I guess, some of the market leaders in this, and, you know, straight, you know, coming to mind is things like Healthline. But obviously, if you've got like Lily Ray writing about SEO on your website, that's a great signal to say that it's trusted content, you know. But saying this, you know, this is the very highest level, but it must be said as well that just because if you're writing about, you know, it could be skydiving, you haven't got to have a trained skydiving, you know, trainer of 20 years write the content. because they're not freely available everywhere. It could just be someone who has an interest in a hobby in skydiving and does it every other month, because as long as they've got some level of understanding on the topic, then that's kind of what Google are looking for. But obviously, if you can go next level and get someone who's really, really qualified in the topic, then obviously you're taking it to a different level. So on the flip side, looking at low level EAT, and again, the guidelines talk about all the different levels, so you can get an understanding of how they break it down. But so low quality pages often lack an appropriate level of EAT for the topic or purpose of the page. And they put some examples. So the content creator lacks experience. For example, a restaurant review written by someone who's never eaten at the restaurant, as we said before. A content creator lacks adequate expertise. If actually, funny enough, they put skydiving. Must have been an article about how to skydive written by someone with no expertise in the subject. I must be reading these guidelines way too much to have that example. The website or content creator is not authoritative or trustworthy sources for the topic of the page. So they put the example of a tax form downloads provided on a cooking website. Again, that example of that website that James Brockbank mentioned around, going straying into topics they just didn't usually write about, and they didn't really have the expertise, or at least Google didn't think they had the expertise in. They didn't showcase it properly enough. The page or website is not trustworthy for its purpose, e.g. a shopping page with minimal customer service information. So, they don't want to point to like e-commerce pages if they feel like they haven't got the right, for example, the right returns information, or like they said, actual customer service, because that's not a great user experience at all. And they know that. And you might have it, that's the thing, you might actually have it, but you're just not highlighting it good enough. People can't find it. You may have it, but if people can't find it on your website, it may as well not be there. So last but not least is some common mistakes that have been seen when it comes to EEAT. And these kind of things may work for a while, but after a while they're going to be sussed out probably by search engines. So here's some examples. So creating fake authors, misrepresenting expertise, publishing low quality or outdated content. And again, this is especially outdated stuff. It's very hard if you've got a large website to keep on top of that. But obviously it can lead, especially if it's in your money, your life, it can lead to issues. So try and keep on top of that if possible. Not building on-page and off-page signals. Obviously, we've discussed things like, making things visible, and then also link building, with relevant publishers. Missing or hard to find contact information, as we just said. Not including references or links to sources within your content. No evidence of positive reviews of the business or product. Not making it clear who wrote the content and their experience and expertise. Again, you may write some extremely good content, and the person who wrote it might be really, the best person for the job. You don't make that clear to the user or search engines, and they're not going to think about that, are they? They're just going to presume it's just spun out by, it could be anyone or AI or whatever. So, yeah. Failing to secure the site with an SSL certificate, so it's not secure. I mean, most sites are secure now, so, but I'm sure there's still some that aren't. Using stock images, it's a quick fire way of getting an image, and I get that, but the more unique you can make images, your consumers with the products or using your service or whatever it may be, your staff members, it's going to make you more unique, your content stand out. And just like the content within the page, the image should represent that as well, or videos, audio, whatever it is. It's going to make you stand out, show how transparent you are, show you're real. That's what people want to see these days. There's so much, obviously a lot of AI content out there. To show you're real, basically, is still a quick win. And having a week about us page, again, being transparent, being authentic, showing who you are, what journey you've come from, what your qualifications, why did you do this, why did you start a business, why did you join the company, that kind of thing would be great. So yeah, I hope this has helped somewhat understand what EEAT is. Again, you got any questions, or did I get something wrong? Put it in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions around it. All the sources I've put in the description, along with some other bonus ones, I guess. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like. It really does help me build the channel. And if you do like this video, I'm going to look to build another video around good examples of EAT, just like I did with a Schema video, just showcasing large companies that are doing it really well, and maybe some things that can be improved. Like I said, there's no tick box exercise here. It's an ongoing process anyway, so, and there's always room to improve all elements of it. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and speak soon.